last week I had a lot of messages sent in to not only my comments, my DMs, in the disappointment in the lack of my opinion or eagerness to cancel Dave Chappelle and his comments regarding the trans community. And I just want to speak to, although I do align myself with the LGBTQIA plus community, I am bisexual. I am queer. I do not have a trans experience. And so when I sit on this podcast and, you know, certain things offend me, certain things do not. Right. Y'all know, I say it all the time. I believe we're all hypocrites. But I didn't feel like it was my space to say how anyone should be offended, how they shouldn't be offended. And me personally, it wasn't something that I was offended by. And so I just want to make that very clear that though I'm aligned with this group, I'm not here to sit here and tell anyone listening if they should or shouldn't be offended, what they should and shouldn't be aligned with, how they want to go moving forward, listening to things. I mean, shit, we sat here and talked about, y'all know I can't stand Future and I can't stand fucking R. Kelly, and yet I love me some Chris Brown. And so in ways of which there's abuse and there's people who find different people offensive or should be canceled, like, I just don't align fully with cancel culture, and I am a hypocrite. However, again, I wasn't personally triggered, and I did understand the overall thing. I do want to also give a shout out. We shouted her out last episode, but Flame Monroe really went on and discussed with Don Lemon how she, as a trans woman, understood the overall thing. And one of the things that I love that she said was, yes, I am trans. Yes, I am a comedian. Those are things I can hide. I can never hide that I'm Black. Right. And I think that that's kind of what Dave Chappelle was really trying to do, which is kind of full circle everything. And again,
well, I think, but I also think that it's we have to stop diverting away from the point, which is the same situation as the Eminem situation, diverting away from the point to make another point that was never argued in the first place. We call that changing the base of the argument, right? So the base of the argument was never that, you know, that Dave Chappelle was, you know, he was making transphobic comments and homophobic comments, and that was not the base of his argument. The base of his argument was that Black people are consistently disenfranchised, consistently marginalized, consistently treated unfairly, and that's its own statement. That has nothing to do with the LGBTQ plus community. That was his messaging. Now, did he say some things that were absolutely cringy and could be offensive to people? 100%. But I think if we go back and look at comedians, there's been a lot that has been said over the course of the last 30, 40 years that has been offensive. I mean, I'm watching sitcoms even now. I look at some of the jokes that were written in sitcoms and I'm like, damn, that would never fly today. Like some of the shit that got said, like no one had all this energy around the trans conversation when Martin was dressed up as Shanae. Nobody was offended and pissed off and saying anything was transphobic or stereotypical or anything like that. We looked at it as comedy. And I think, you know, the perspectives have changed. I think we have to keep allowing people room to learn and unlearn. And I think when someone's making a point about something very specific, the how is always important. But the bottom line and the intention is also more important in my mind. We were just talking about this earlier about, you know, the importance of acknowledging the humanity in all of this, right? Around gender identity, but also even around the race conversation. And more and more often, we're seeing a lot less people grant people the grace to be human and grant people the grace to unlearn, which takes time. It takes time to unlearn certain shit. And it's not to say that people should then use that as a crutch and an excuse to be blatantly disrespectful.
I was going to say, there is a difference between giving someone time to learn something and flat out ignorance. Correct. And
deliberate, willful ignorance.
I was about to say.
Willful ignorance.
I was about to say, going out of your way almost to not learn this new, you know, kind of world order that we're in right now. Correct. And also just understanding too, like we said earlier, like you can be offended. We are in a very sensitive time. Yeah. And you know,
but I think if the intention sometimes is to better understand, right? I think the only thing that needs to continue to be understood is the fragility of humanity as a whole.